I think it's just gone 10 here, and my guest is in a different country and 2 hours different. So I think it's lunchtime for you, Alexa, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to dive straight into this because I don't think we need too much preamble. If anybody has been, oh, that's my phone just talking to me. Let me just turn the volume down. I've got the phone on to see that we're definitely live, and I know we are because I can hear me talking, which is a bit weird. Um, for anybody out there in the Gen X sort of age bracket, maybe the late boomers. I never quite know is it early boomers or late boomers, but early boomers must be the early ones that were born, and it must be late boomers that we're kind of on the border with. You can't have failed to have seen Alexa's channel popping up in your feed, whether you've clicked on any of her videos, which if you haven't, you should, or just seen them come up. Your rise, I guess, on YouTube has been quite significant, quite quick, and really quite phenomenal growth. So I'm really excited to have you on the live stream. We've been trying to do this a couple of times, and
Yeah.
the timings haven't worked out, and sick children, and
Yeah.
colds, and all sorts of things going on. So I'm really happy that I've managed to pin you down and get you on. Alexa, please say hello, introduce yourself, and let us know a little bit about who you are and what you're doing on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey everyone. I'm Alexa, and I live in Finland. I'm an American, and I jumped on YouTube when I lost my job, and I decided I would try to make a go of it, and that's what I've been doing for the past 6 months. And now I have a full-time career on YouTube with coaching business and school community and all kinds of stuff. It's been really fun. Yeah.
In 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of incredibly inspiring and massively frustrating when I've been doing this for a couple of years and got nowhere near that traction. What do you
Yeah.
put that down to? What do you think was the trick to if there was a trick to moving that
Yeah.
quickly?
I think I tried like 4 years ago to build a channel, and I think I was just I lacked the confidence to be truly myself. I also wasn't comfortable on camera. And I have been teaching online on an online format for over a decade, like 13 years. And I think just always being on Zoom calls and being on camera and recording myself, I just gotten so used to it and so used to like watching my videos back that maybe subconsciously I just improved so I could get my points across more clearly to the students.
Mm.
So I do think that helped a lot. And I also think I was just thinking about this today. I was doing a video earlier today about how living in Finland has allowed me to be more authentic somehow than living in the US, which I thought is really interesting because there's no real politeness here. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way. It's just very direct culture. And when cultures are direct, it allows you to accept your opinions easier and state them easier. It's kind of interesting. So I don't know. But I don't attribute that to my success. I just attribute that I'm at a certain age where you just care less about what people think about you, and you're more living life for what you want versus what everyone else wants. And I think that, 4 or 5 years ago when I tried to do this, I was still kind of trying to please people and not fully live for myself. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well, like going after what you really want. And losing my job was a huge motivation. So it was like all or nothing. I was
Right,
not going
yeah.
to go, because it was like the way the job was cut off, it was just like that. I was supposed to start teaching in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I was let go. And it was just, I had been teaching there for 13 years. So it was quite a hit to my, not necessarily my ego, but like my heart more. And I know it wasn't anything personal. It's just bottom line, but I just never want to feel that way again. I never want to be in that position again of like having 3 kids and all of a sudden half of our income is gone. It's like, it's just not fun. So that's why I
Do
wanted to
you
kind of
think
take
that
control of my life.
financial loss, the loss of the job, that must, as well as the fact that you'd got comfortable on camera and all of the background stuff. Do you think that drive, that almost the urgency had an impact on your commitment to the channel and moving things forward quickly?
Yeah, most definitely. Because like when I tried it before, I had that job. So it was kind of like a fun side project that if it took off, it would be nice, but I wasn't so committed. I wanted it to take off, but I didn't really need it. Like, I needed it this time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I didn't wanna go back to what I was doing. I didn't wanna be in design anymore, architecture anymore. I really wanted to do something new. I was actually quite tired of that job that I had. You know, I had been doing it so long and the same thing over and over again, so I'd become quite repetitive, and even though it was a creative field, I didn't feel like I was being creative. So
Right.
there's just a lot of things that fed into it, but definitely the financial strain. It was the first time in my life where I had to ask, like, my husband for money, you know what I mean? Like, for groceries and for gas. It was just really uncomfortable. Like, I don't, I'm kind of a very like ambitious woman. I don't like to ask for money.
Mm.
So I like to make my own. And I've been working since I was 14. So it's just never been a position I've been in before. So yeah, so I don't ever want to be in that position again. So yeah, that was a big motivating factor for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your channel is very much about helping Gen Xers to share their voice on the YouTube platform. I'm really interested to know why you chose YouTube, because I've heard other people talk about the fact that growth, for example, on Instagram is generally faster
Mhm.
than growth on YouTube. The learning curve behind YouTube, I think, is greater. You know, it's a more complex platform,
Right.
I think, in my opinion, and creating longer form content with all of the editing skills and the camera presence and everything that we have to try and find. See, it seems like a bigger mountain to climb than perhaps some of the other platforms. You know, TikTok. I don't watch TikTok much anymore because I was losing hours. But TikTok, you know, there seems to be this rapid growth. What made you choose YouTube?
Well, I don't really like TikTok. I just it's too fast for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like to learn, and I always turn to YouTube for learning. And I like long format. I like teaching. I've been a teacher, you know, for over a decade, so I love
Mhm.
teaching, and it's a great place to teach. And Instagram, even though I like Instagram, it always left me feeling almost depressed somehow. Like, so if I ever took a break from Instagram, I always felt happier. So there's something about those really fast feeds that stress me out or something. And I like YouTube because you can kind of pick and choose what you go there for. And after picking and choosing, then it recommends stuff that's similar. Of course, the other formats or platforms do that as well. But it's just so fast paced that I feel like it would just stress me out. Like, you have to post like every day. Where YouTube, you can post once a week a video that you work hard on, and it's fine. And plus, with my design background, I know how to edit. I know how to, you know, record my screen. I know all of those things already. So it wasn't such a steep learning curve for me. Of course, I can always learn how to edit better and make things more cinematic. But yeah, so I don't know. I've always just liked YouTube, and yeah, yeah, Instagram and those are just too fast paced for me. I like the
Mhm.
slow environment of YouTube, if you can call
I
it a
think
slow
I'm with
environment.
you. I don't know if that's an age thing. I mean, you're significantly
Mhm.
younger than me, but I think, you know, when we're talking, if we put that sort of line in the sand, the under 40s and the over 40s, I think
Mhm.
I've been sort of watching YouTube, and I've had a YouTube channel for a few years. I've certainly been watching longer than I've had the channel. And there
Mhm.
does seem to be a shift. There is a slowing down and a less frenetic feel to a lot of videos now. And I think that's probably played into the strengths of us over 40s,
Yeah.
over 50s, nearly 60, but I don't want to go there at the minute. I think it does play into our needs and our preferences, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you did something I think that is a lot of us would like to do, but feel like a fraud doing, which is teaching something as we're learning it. There's this
Mm.
fear that I'm not expert enough, I don't know enough, who's going to take any notice of me? I'm only learning it at the same time. And yet you've taken that concept of being a step ahead and helping people along, you know, as
Yeah.
your journey evolves. How did you manage the I'm not an expert in this in your head? How did you get over that? I guess you might call it imposter syndrome. How did you get over that?
Yeah. I think I never felt like an imposter because I never said I knew what I was talking about. You know what I mean? I was always a knowledge reporter. So I was always just like, I'm learning everything from all the courses I'm taking, and I'm sharing it here. And I'm also testing it and then sharing it after it works. So I had some sort of like evidence that it worked. And I think that gave me more confidence. So I usually tested the things that I was taught first and then revealed those. So I think that that helped a little bit. But yeah, I think because so many times in life, I have gone to someone that's just a few steps ahead of me and purchased their courses or whatever, and have learned a lot. So I think that there's something to be said with learning from someone that's just a few steps ahead of you versus miles ahead of you, because it's almost intimidating, like to learn from Mr. Beast or something. It's just like, it's so beyond where I could ever be. So it's nicer to learn from like someone that's just, few months, a year ahead of you. I think that's really nice. And I never really felt like an imposter, because I specifically always stated, I'm just giving you what I'm learning. Like, you know what I mean? And I think if you're upfront and honest, you don't have to show up feeling like an imposter, because you're not. You're stating, this is what I know and this is what I'm doing. And I'm going to just try to help you along the way. So
yeah, I love it. We can see we've got 4 people watching, and Studio Tezart saying, "Nice to see you both. Nice to see you too." If anybody is watching in the comments, I did forget. I advertised this a month ago when we were going to go, and then this one crept up on me really quickly, and I only put it out yesterday that I was going live. I remember when we initially chatted, you said, you're a scrappy YouTuber. I'm just scrappy in life. I think everything is last minute. But I would love to talk about that scrappiness, because I think certainly for me, when I first started, I spent a fortune on gear and kit and cameras, and I didn't get the traction that you've got. And you don't, I hope you won't mind me saying, don't use lots of gear and lots of kit. So there's not sort of fancy cameras and fancy lighting, which kind of goes to prove that it's about the content and not necessarily about having all the stuff. And I do know, thinking about it, that my buying the gear and figuring out how to use the gear was a form of procrastination, because it was a way of, well, I can't make this video yet because I haven't got my lighting quite right.
Yeah.
You managed to kind of grow without going down that route. Was that intentional? Was it out of necessity? Where are you now, I guess, in terms of getting the gear and all of that stuff?
Yeah. I would just say I just wanted to start with what I had, and I didn't have any extra money, so I wasn't going to go buy gear, I mean, I wasn't even using a camera. I was just using my laptop camera. I wasn't even using my phone or anything. Or except if I went for a walk, I used my phone. But I just started with what I had, and I was like, if it takes off and if it goes well, then I'll eventually buy some stuff. And now I just recently I have these lights that I just bought now, because it's Finland. I've been on YouTube since summertime, so it's been daylight all the time, and now it's going into winter. It's going to be complete darkness, so I need lighting, artificial lighting. So I had to buy those. That was the first purchase, because I knew I needed to light up my face in the room. So I bought those, and now I just also purchased a camera and some what are they called, like lavalier microphones. So if I want to
never pronounce it, lav mic.
Yeah.
Click on mic.
Yeah, I bought those, but I still have yet, like, now I have like a whole nother learning curve of like how to use the camera, how to set up the camera, get a tripod, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know like when I'll actually get it done, because like you said, I'm scrappy and I'm very busy as a mom of 3. So like having to like learn that, I just need to take a weekend, figure it out, and start filming with that. But for now, I'm going to keep using my laptop until it dies.
But there's a brilliant message there. I think twofold, really. One is the money, and 2 is the time. So I mentioned earlier that my having the right gear was one of my forms of procrastination. But with that came a complex setup and takedown. So actually just getting ready to make a video would take me 20-25 minutes to get everything set up. And I've got a Nikon Z30 mirrorless camera that I haven't got a clue how to use, but I could never get the focus right. So then I'd be looking back and I'd be dissatisfied. And actually, some of the videos that I found the easiest were I just opened Zoom and recorded, to
Yeah.
Zoom, which isn't the best way to do it,
Yeah.
but it was instant, and I guess it's taking away those hurdles, the friction, reducing the
Right.
friction to help you get started. So I called this live stream "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly" of YouTube and your journey. Tell us the good bits. What do you love about YouTube and your YouTube journey?
I love, love, love the community. I that was the thing that when I first got on YouTube, like I had lost my job, so I lost my group of people, like the faculty. Like I lost my whole like connection to the US because I live in Finland and my job was in the US, and I had worked with those people for over a decade. Like they were, my people, like,
Mm,
and they were just gone because I'm not going to run into them at the grocery store. They don't live in my country. We don't have meetings anymore. So my adult crowd was gone. And so with YouTube, when I got on there, I started to be able to speak with adults again because my life is mostly children in Finland. It's like kids because they're young. And so it was really nice to just have that social interaction, inspire people, and then them telling me that they are feeling inspired and motivated and they want to get on YouTube. And it was so fun. My favorite thing, hands down, about YouTube is the community and like the people in the comments, and how you can, sorry, my screen went like, how they can just, you can build a bond with people just through the comments even. And then eventually they became part of my Skool community and I really
mm,
get to know them. But yeah, the community aspect of it is amazing. The people are
yeah.
so positive and supportive and just wonderful, and remind you that you're doing something good and you're helping people. It's really nice feeling.
The community side was something that I genuinely hadn't really picked up on until around about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
I always saw it as a one-way conversation, and it
Mm,
felt for me a little bit like the audience whereas on some of the other platforms, there felt like there was with the exception of TikTok. I look at TikTok, I don't really post that much. I have tried, I don't like it, a bit like you.
mm,
But on Instagram, you felt like it was a two-way conversation, and I always thought with YouTube, it felt one way, and I don't know whether I've shifted my thoughts or my community is growing and therefore I'm getting more feedback. But it
mm,
is definitely, I totally get what you're saying. There's this lovely sense of a tribe, that people who, similar interests, similar
yeah,
ways of thinking. And I hadn't got that. That was a real eye opener to me. I do think YouTube is missing a bit of a trick. I have read something lately to say that they're going to try and expand the community element so that it is a little bit more two-way.
right.
You've moved a lot of that community. Well, you haven't moved them, but you've opened up your school
Yeah,
community, which I'm a member of, and that again, that sort of grew really, really quickly, didn't it?
yeah,
To enable those conversations to continue off platform.
right.
What have you noticed a shift in the community on YouTube since you've kind of moved it away? Are you finding it challenging to manage both?
It is challenging to manage both just because I get so many comments on YouTube. So that's just challenging in general. But I do feel like the nice thing about moving them to a membership area is that they can communicate together. Like you can talk with other people in the community, you can post your wins, you can post your struggles, and people can, interact with you. Whereas in the feeds, the comment of the YouTube channel, it's like they are talking to me, but they're not necessarily talking to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really rare to see someone post something and then someone else comment. Someone might like it, but it's really rare to see like a conversation going back and forth unless it's like a bot or spam or something. So that's what I really liked about the membership area, is that everyone can talk to each other and kind of lift each other up, not just me talking to them and them talking back. So
Mm.
it's like a more of a group conversation, which I really love. So with Skool, it's actually a little bit easier to manage because people are talking to each other. So I can hop in the conversation, but they can also just talk without me. Whereas on YouTube, I need to respond. There's no one else going to do that work. So
Yeah.
that's a lot more work. Yeah.
Yeah, and the community doesn't it? There are conversations going on
Mhm.
that don't necessarily involve you, which,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what you want when
Right. Yeah.
in a community where the communities support each other.
Yeah.
Any other sort of good bits other than the community?
Well, I mean, I love this. It's like my job now, so that's amazing. Like, I'm so amazed that we have this opportunity. Like, YouTube is a free platform, and we can like basically market ourselves to the entire world. You know what I mean? And help people all around the world and live your passion and get paid for it if you do it, well, or like if you find the groove or whatever. I don't want to say do it well or right, but if you find your market or your tribe, and it's just incredible. So I think that is also a really amazing thing about YouTube,
Mm.
is just that I love is like I don't have to go to 9 to 5. I don't have to search in Finland for a job that I would not be able to get a job at the level I would like to get in Finland because I don't speak the language. So it's
Mm.
like there's so many things against being able to get a job here, and the job market's very tough in Finland for non-natives and for natives, in fact, right now. But so yeah, it's just I think it's amazing that we can have this platform that allows us to grow a business and reach people all around the world. And
Yeah.
it goes back to community though from there, because I'm just like
Yeah,
I
of
get to talk to
course.
people
Well,
all over the world.
you can't run a business without customers, and customers are
Yeah,
your community, aren't they?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's a point that's often missed. A lot of people talk about, I'm trying to get monetized. We've all done it. We want to get that
mhm,
first step into the monetization partner program. But in reality, that's not really the and I think unless you are Mr. Beast, you aren't going to make a living
yeah,
from AdSense and that sort of thing. But you
yeah,
you are right. As a platform for business, it's phenomenal. The opportunities, whether that's through
yeah,
affiliate marketing, sort of consultancy, course building. It's such an amazing marketing tool. Absolutely
mhm.
brilliant. Um, Hello, Teacher Kelly Tag. I'm a fan of both of you. That's very, very kind. So, okay, we've got the good bits. I think most of us, if we're on YouTube and we're trying to grow on YouTube, we're doing it because we love the platform.
Mhm.
But it does come with its challenges. What are the bad bits? I don't necessarily want to talk about the sort of the negative trolling and things. We will talk about that when we get onto the ugly. But in terms of growing your YouTube channel as a busy mum. What are the bad bits? What are the challenging bits?
Yeah, the lack of time. When I first started doing YouTube, my youngest was only in daycare 3 hours a day. And I was doing 3 videos a week. So the time was tough. Thinking of ideas, filming them, editing, posting, all of that is a lot of work. And sticking with the comments, just being consistent on those days, like where you don't sleep at all at night because your children are sick, and you're up all night, and then you have to be up with them all day because they're home from daycare or school all day. And then you want to do a video later that evening. You just look haggard, you look tired, like your energy is down. So I think that managing your time and feeling inspired and energized is one of the toughest things to keep up with for me as a mom of three. Yeah.
Yeah. But you immediately started to treat it as a job, didn't you? It was a job. It wasn't just,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'll do this if I've got the energy or if I've got the time."
Yeah.
Much like you would have to if you were in employment, you have
Right.
to show up. Or risk getting the sack and not getting the results. So it is a job, but it is tiring. How did you manage that then? How did you manage to show up when you've not slept and your energy is low? And
You know, I think because I just had a goal. Like every week, I was going to do 3 videos: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that was my goal. And then I could relax the rest of the week, relax with kids. But like I was just like, I, it was like if it was Monday evening at 8 o'clock and my video still wasn't out, I would record something, edit something, and make sure I posted. Like I was not going to miss a deadline. So my deadline was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get a video out. I did that. I stuck to it no matter what. Like there are many times where I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, do you mind if I just stay up 2 more hours? I'll be in bed like midnight. Do you mind? Because like that's our only time to see each other. So he was very understanding and very helpful too. So I think that, yeah, just having that, like, I want this more than I want to go back to 9 to 5. I want this. I don't want that. So that was also a driving thing. And I also knew like that this would be the season of hard work. And then maybe a few seasons later, it would be a little bit easier, which I haven't gotten there yet, but
I was gonna say, has that
maybe one
happened or is
day.
it just getting busier? You
Yeah.
you may be growing a bit of a monster.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think, the message that I'm getting here is if you want this to be a business, if you want it to be an income source of, a worthwhile income source, it's
Mm,
not going to happen without that commitment of actually treating it like a job,
right.
taking it seriously, putting the hours in, putting the time in. And like any business, the initial traction to get the wheels moving is the hardest bit, and once you've got that traction and you're moving, then yes, you can kind of let the momentum keep you going. And I
Yeah.
think maybe a lot of us see success like yours, and we don't realize actually how much behind the scenes work is going into it. It's not just
Mm,
showing up and doing a 10-minute or a 15-minute video. There's life going on in the background, and all the ideation and the planning. And I think it's very easy to look as an outsider and go, well, it was easy for Alexa,
mm,
and not realize that actually there's an awful lot goes on in the background. And of course, not everybody is going to want to have YouTube as their main income source. For a
right.
lot of us, it's a nice to have, and we're enjoying the process. It is very, very easy, though, I think, to to build that comparisonitis, and feel like we're failing if we're not seeing the same traction and losing sight of the path
Mm.
that we're on. What advice, if any, would you give to somebody who's kind of feeling that FOMO, that comparisonitis, looking at other people like yourself who are really kind of driving forward? What would your thoughts be?
I would say only look at others to inspire you. Don't look at them to compare and make you feel bad. Like that's what I saw Silver and Solo. She was my main inspiration and she did it. And I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. There's no reason why I can't do it. If she did it, I can do it. I saw
Mm.
plenty of other examples. So I didn't really worry about the pace at which I was growing. I just put my head down and powered through. Do you know what I mean? And I was getting so much back from YouTube that I didn't really even care because it was bringing life back into me. That's another thing I should have mentioned was the thing that kept me going is that I was able to be creative again. I was able to express myself again. I was able to be Alexa again, as
Mm.
opposed to mom or architect all the time. Like I could be what I was really passionate about, which is teaching and inspiring people and like leadership and those types of things. So it was really, yeah. So I would just say use those people to inspire you and not compare yourself in a negative way because you can get there if you put in the work and you strive to continually improve. And, like maybe you could look at people and be like, okay, what are they doing different? Like, what am I missing? Then you can like just use them to help you get where you want to go. Don't look at it as like, I'll never get there. They got there so fast because there's people that, did it in 3 weeks. I did it in 10 weeks to get monetized, but then there's people that take 6 months or a year to get monetized. So it's like everybody's journey is different. And it's just the same in life in general. Like everyone achieves things in a different time frame. So yeah,
Mm.
I've never been one to compare myself to others and think, man, why them and not me? I'm always been like, if them, then me. That's like
I
a
love
huge
that.
mantra in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it does come down to the drivers as well. You had very strong drivers to
Yeah.
want to be successful. And I think certainly for me, I enjoy the process. I haven't got that the kind of the financial pressures
Mm,
because I'm at a different stage in life where
yeah.
we're kind of winding down. And I've got the balance of, do I want that level of stress or pressure to put on myself to grow? So I guess where I'm going with this is you've got to understand your own path,
Mm,
and actually stay on it. And I look at what you've done, and I have to be honest, there is a little bit of um envy, I suppose, of,
mhm.
"Oh, God, I wish," but not in a negative sort of bitter way, but
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, I wish one of my videos would take off like that." But then I have to flip that and go, "Actually, but I haven't done 3 videos. Well, in the past, I've done a few times where I've done 3 videos a week, but
Mhm.
actually to do that consistently over 6, 7 months is freaking hard work.
Right.
And I'm not sure I wanna do that level of work. So staying on your
Yeah.
own path.
Yeah.
Kelly said, "It took 6 years, but I didn't always take YouTube seriously." And I think, that is the key, isn't it? If
Mhm.
it's like anything, you get out what you put in, and if you're
Yeah.
serious and you put in the effort and the time and you're willing to forego 2 hours sleep to get the video out, you're
Yeah.
gonna see the results. Were you surprised by your results? Were you surprised to see things happen so quickly?
Yeah, I was. I really was. I it's funny, with Silver and Solo, she got monetized in 10 weeks. So I was like, that's my goal, 10 weeks. If she can do it, I can do it. And I got monetized in exactly 10 weeks. So that kind of didn't surprise me because I had in my head 10 weeks, 10 weeks, 10 weeks. But the fact that it actually happened was like, wow, it actually happened in exactly 10 weeks. So that was really cool. But the growth after that has really surprised me. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is what I'm meant to do right now. So it's also not so surprising. You know what I mean? I feel like I've worked up to this for so long. I've been teaching for so long. I've been online for so long teaching. I don't know. I just feel like it's all kind
Mm.
of coming to a head. So
You're
that,
quite a spiritual person as well, aren't
yes.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think you get what you focus on,
Yeah.
and if when you put out to the universe what you want. I mean, this is my
Yeah.
philosophy. It may not be the same for everybody. You're more likely to get it because you've
Yeah.
already set the intention, and I think. I don't want to go down the woo woo road
Yeah.
on this live stream, but I think there's certainly for me an element of you get what you focus on, and
Yeah.
setting those intentions and waiting, not just waiting for it happen to do, but doing the work to make it happen.
And
Can
also,
we sorry, go on.
I was going to say, and not having any doubt, like just knowing that it could happen for you. Like, I feel like that is something too that I have that a lot of people don't have, is like just not allowing any element of doubt in your head. Like, I'm doing this and I'm going to get there. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to get there. So it'll work
Mm,
if you just keep putting in the
yeah.
time. So
And that's the big thing, isn't it? I think
yeah.
most of us have so much self-doubt
Yeah.
that it gets in our way. It's a barrier.
Yeah.
We overthink, we get in our head about things, and we don't just go scrappy. Just,
Mhm.
get it
Get it
done.
done.
Um, I had a question I was gonna ask you, and my brain's gone completely off track now, and I can't
Yeah.
think what I was gonna ask.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So where is your channel now? 'Cause your growth has been rapid. How
Mm.
many subscribers have you got now?
Uh,
Yeah, about
23,000 maybe? I'm
about
not
20,
sure.
22. So,
I'm not sure.
but your income, you've managed to monetize your channel from AdSense, but you've also monetized in other ways. Are you happy to share? Well, I'm sure you will be because you share
Yeah.
on your channel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your monetization journey, not the AdSense stuff, but how you've monetized through your business, what income streams you've built using the YouTube platform.
Yeah, sure. So when I started off, my main goal was monetization. I was like, I'll just make money off of AdSense. And then that happened, and the AdSense was like, I think 500 for a month. So I was like, oh, that's not enough to live on. And then once I got
And
monetized,
not consistent either, is it?
yeah, no, it's not. It's
No.
so volatile. And so then I was like, okay. And then people started asking in the comments, will you coach me? So I was like, yes, I will start coaching you. Yeah, just on the floor. Sorry, my daughter had a question. Um, what was I saying? So then, yes. So then people ask coaching. So then I added in a layer of coaching. So I had the monetization from YouTube AdSense. Then I got a layer of coaching. And so that was an income stream. And then after that, once I saw that the coaching was taking off and my calendar was booked all the time, I went and got myself a business mentor. And then he was saying that maybe add a high ticket item. So then I added on a, what do you call it? Like an intensive coaching program with me for 6 months, that type of program. And then from there, I also now am working on a course that I just pre-launched that I did sales on. And so that's another income stream. And also I have affiliate links, of course, which makes me like $20 a month because I don't promote them. But those are all the levels of income that I have. It's interesting with AdSense. Last month, I think I made 2,500 in AdSense, but the month before that, it was 700. So, and
Yeah.
then this month, I think it's going to be a 1,000. Or sorry, November was 1,000. What is it? We're in December now. Yeah. So the last month, November was 2,500. I think this one is going
Yeah.
towards, I don't know, something, whatever the months are.
They're a month behind, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they give it to you, it's a month
Yeah.
behind. Yeah.
And listening to those figures, that's not bad pocket money
No,
from
that's the thing.
creating, what is fundamentally free content, doing it your way with just your laptop camera.
Mhm.
It is a free platform. You don't pay to post onto
Yeah.
YouTube. So to be able to make 500, 1,000, 2,500 dollars from free content is
Yeah.
good pocket money. You're
It's
right. It's not
incredible.
enough to, and it's not consistent enough to have
Yeah.
as your main income.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's a bit more than, just to sniff at, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it's like
worth
groceries for
doing.
like 2 weeks for my family, or
Yeah.
well, depending on how much I get, but yeah, it's could be groceries for a month, so it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So before we talk about the ugly, because I do want to talk about some of the downsides, just going to pull up, we've got a question here from Studio Tezza. Sometimes it's hard to come up with videos. They're kind of the same. On the other hand, maybe that's why the subs are coming back. Any tips?
Sometimes come on hard to come up with videos. Are they saying because their videos are usually the same type of topic? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Do you want to
You gotta
clarify
come up with
in the comments? We're not entirely sure what the question is. I think so. Sometimes it's hard to come up with videos. They're kind of the same. On the other hand, maybe that's why subs are coming back. Any tips? Some of the content creators that I watch, if you look at a lot of their content, it's pretty much the same message over and over again. And I think sometimes we think every video we make has got to be something new. But I was looking at,
mm,
Rob the Maritime. I don't know if anybody follows Rob. His content, actually, a lot of his videos have got the same message. They're pretty much the same. He's not scripted, so they're never going to sound exactly the same. And he's moving on in his journey every time he makes a video, so his
yeah.
message might be slightly nuanced and different. But it's very similar content. And if I look at some of the other content creators that I watch, it's kind of the same message because
Mhm.
I think as humans, we like that reinforcement and that repetition. So if that's what you're asking, I think don't worry too much about it. Would be my tip. What are your thoughts,
Um,
Alexa?
I would say like for me, I like to think of my content in pillars. So I have 3 pillars that I focus on, and one is kind of vlog style, behind the scenes, giving people kind of into my life, into what it's like building a content creation business. And then I have another pillar that's more like tutorials and how tos, like how to use CapCut, how to edit your videos, how to upload a video. So very, searchable, basic, helpful tutorials to get you to get on YouTube and grow on YouTube. And then the third pillar for me is kind of more motivational, inspirational. So I think when you rotate pillars, it helps to kind of diversify your content a little bit and not make it seem like it's the same thing. And I do feel like there's so many levels and layers to anything you teach that, you could just be surface level or you could deep dive into a topic. So I do think that even though if it's in a niche, of course, all the topics are going to be related. I think there's a lot of different things you can talk about. And you
Mm.
can pull from so many places. Like you can pull from, if you're talking to your past self, you can go back to that time frame and think about what advice would you give them there. And then you can also talk about where you are now in respect to there. Like there's lots of different ways you can talk about similar things just from a different perspective or location.
Yeah. So Studio Tezar is saying, sorry, my camera's in the way, so bear with me while I shuffle about to say it. Yes, do the same video showing my art on Sundays, but on Thursdays I try to do something different, but in my art. But it is hard to come up with ideas. ChatGPT is your best friend. It's incredible. It's come on so much. I talk to ChatGPT like I'm sat chatting to a friend. I even say please and thank you, and
Same.
quite bizarre, really. But if you say thank you very nicely, it does say thank you back very, very
Mhm.
nicely. It's
Yeah.
weird. I like the Rudyard Kipling did a poem called Six Honest Serving Men, I think it's called. And he talks about, I keep six honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and who and where and who, or something like that. But they're basically the who, what, why, when, how. And I think if you've got one topic, if you take that topic and use those questions, who would this help? Okay, could I do a video based around who should be doing this thing?
Mm.
Where? Well, if you think about, where are you teaching it? Could you just change your location and do something that gives a different vibe?
Mhm.
Why am I doing something the way I'm doing it? How is an obvious one. How am I doing this? What? So it could be, what do you need to get started? Or what should you do if this goes wrong? Or, you can use those sort of question starters to take
Mhm.
the same subject and give it 5 or 6 different directions. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's helpful.
Mhm.
Um, quick one. Let me see if I can do this. I can't seem to shift them around. That's not the one I wanted. It moved around. Stick with
Patty,
me,
my
stick
best
with me,
friend.
stick with me. I don't do many live streams. Jojo, hi. Do you plan your videos months in advance or create them when you think of a topic, Alexa?
I am a scrappy YouTuber still. I just sit down in the morning before I'm gonna film, and I write out some ideas, and then I just sit down and I film it, because I have tried to do the, like, planning in advance, and I'm just not feeling it when I sit down. I can't, like, for me, I can't be something I'm not feeling at that moment. And there was one day I tried and tried. I tried to, film this scripted, not scripted, but it had an outline and everything. It had all these, like, call to actions in it. It was all prepared. I tried like 10 times to do it. And then I ended up doing a video that day on how frustrating it is to do YouTube. So I actually ended up doing a video on how I was feeling, which is what I can do. Like, I can speak about what I'm feeling, what I'm noticing in life or culture or experiencing in my family or experiencing on YouTube. I speak about what is coming up. And it relates to my channel really well, because I'm in the thick of growing a YouTube channel, and I teach about growing a YouTube channel. So it's easier for me to speak about what I feel in the moment than it is to kind of pre-plan. Unless, of course, it's just a YouTube tutorial, like how to use Canva. Then I don't need to have any emotional attachment. But if I'm doing like one of my motivational or vlog style videos, I need to have that passion behind it. And so, yeah, then I create it like drop of a hat, or however you say, like in that moment, and film it right away.
Yeah. I think they're the most authentic. Well, what I would say, I'd go back to what you said earlier about having your content pillars. I have an ideas bank. I call it the
Yeah.
icebox. I use Notion. I mean, you could use it. You could just keep it on your notes app in your phone or
Yeah.
anywhere. And if I have an idea, I'll write it down so that when it comes to actually that moment when you have a mental blank and you can't think of anything, I just go into my icebox and I'll have a look and see which one jumps out and goes, yeah, I'm feeling this one today. And then I'll kind of pick up on that. But I think idea generation is probably the hardest part for most of
Yeah.
us, isn't it?
And I also like the idea of, like, if you read your comments, I usually screenshot my comments and put them into a folder. So if I need ideas later, or I want to address a comment from a subscriber in a video, then I use that. So if you need that for ideas, that's
Mm.
always, your comments are like gold mine for ideas.
I've also heard somebody, it might have been you, Alexa, I can't remember, say what they've done is they will go into other people who have channels with a similar niche or a similar sort of topic,
Mhm.
and they will select and copy and paste the comments from somebody else's video, pop them into chat gpt and
Mhm.
say, looking at these comments, can you give me some video
Some video ideas.
ideas
Yeah.
that we can use? Was that
That's
you?
great. No, but I have done that
Yeah.
myself. And also,
And
I think it's really great also to go in the comments of other channels. If you're a new channel and someone's doing something you want, then you can get ideas for videos by reading their comments and what people are confused about or what people are asking questions about too.
yeah, absolutely. Because
Mhm.
ultimately we're making content for our audience, so it makes sense to look at what they're asking. I think Sean Cannell from Think Media always talks about answer a specific question. So if you can, we need to remember that YouTube is a search engine. So quite often people will be putting in a search. So if your video can answer that question, it's more likely to get seen. Although I must admit, I've tried to stop doing search based content and try now to do so recommended content, and hopefully
Mm.
it picks up in the feed, because I don't know about you, haven't found that search based content does quite so well for me. But
Yeah, just slow growth.
so Kelly's asking, I've heard conflicting advice about niching. What do you guys think?
Well, me, I'm a huge fan of niching. I love niching. I'm all about it. So I'm very, very biased. I teach everyone to niche down because I feel like niching down allows the YouTube algorithm to really clearly understand what you're doing and who to push it out to, or who to like offer it up to. And then it'll match more evenly with those people, so that those people will click on that. The percentage of people clicking on your videos would be higher because of they're targeting the right people, in my opinion, versus just kind of throwing a bunch of different stuff out there. So that's my opinion. And then I think once you grow, then you can easily start to expand. So I think that like laser focus in the beginning, and then as you grow, then you can start to test different things and expand from there.
Mm.
That's my take. But of course, you can build YouTube channels in lots of different ways.
I think it again comes down to your plan and goals and the trajectory
True.
you want to take. So, if monetization and making money specifically from YouTube is your goal, I think niching specifically it's essential. Um, I think if your goal is more, I'm just doing this for the fun of it, I'm enjoying it. I want to make content that makes me feel good. I
Mm.
I think there's two ways of looking at this, and my channel's very small, so maybe I'm getting this completely wrong. You can either niche by topic or you can niche by audience. So you've, Alexa, have niched by topic. It's very, and to an extent audience, but the niche is the subject, isn't it? It's growing on
Mm.
YouTube, building YouTube, understanding YouTube. For me, I think my niche is less about the topic and more about the audience. So my channel really is, it's Generation Exceptional, talking to Gen Xers about just getting older and going through all the stuff that we go through. So I
Mm.
do talk about a range of different things. I talk about my ADHD. I talk about menopause. I talk about heading towards retirement. Up until recently, I talked about having a business as an older person, but it was always around the audience rather than the
Mm.
subject, and that's possibly why my growth has been slower. But that was a specific choice for me not to niche down to a particular topic. And I think, thinking about the question that came up earlier from Studio Tes Art, if you are very niche, you can't really help but to be able to be making content that kind of repeats itself, because
Mm.
the smaller your niche, the smaller the pool of subjects that you can talk about, so you're going to be repeating. So I think it comes down to personal choice, but I do think you're proof positive. I think that from a monetization point of view and getting traction on YouTube, niching has to be the way to go, I think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. um, Brilliant. Okay, can we talk about the ugly
Of
the ugly
course.
bit of being on YouTube? um I've been really, really fortunate. I haven't quite haven't had that rite of passage into heavy trolling. Touch wood, it doesn't happen. I have had a couple, but nothing sort of horrible. Um, have you had to deal with the kind of negative trolly comments?
Yeah, I have. And they get more and more as you grow. But they don't really bother me for the most part. Because usually if it's like a comment about like your forehead's big or you talk too fast or whatever, like those comments don't bother me because it's not something I can change. But if it's something that I can change, then I pay attention to it. And if I think I need to change it, like some people might just say you're lying or something like that, and then it's like, well, that's just a he said she said thing, so there's nothing really to address. But there was one comment recently, and I did a video about it. How one of the women that was following me made a comment of how she really loved my channel because it was so authentic, and she was following me because of my authenticity. And then she felt like I had become less authentic, and so she was no longer interested in watching me. And so I reached out to her. I emailed her,
Before we go
Um,
into what you did, can I
yeah,
ask you how you felt when you read that comment? Because I think what I've picked up on before is if somebody mentions your forehead, or sometimes somebody mentions, not sometimes, somebody mentions you talk too fast. If your forehead doesn't bother you and
yeah,
you're talking too fast doesn't bother you, then they're not hitting a nerve. There's nothing
mm,
there that you're going to respond to. You know,
mm,
if somebody made a comment about my white hair, I love my white hair. It doesn't bother me. Other people might
yeah,
like it, but it's not going to trigger me.
right,
Possibly if somebody made a comment about an opinion I had, especially if it was an opinion I held dearly, and they challenged that, it might trigger me because it would have an emotional response for me.
right.
What did you feel when you saw the lady saying your content isn't as authentic as it used to be? Because I get the impression authenticity is a huge thing for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I pride my channel on because I share everything behind the scenes. But yeah, the reason that it made me sad because I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer because I feel like I'm the same person. I don't feel like I've changed. I don't think I've gotten arrogant or anything like that. And I really like you said, if it triggers you, like that comment caught me, like it caught my attention. And so I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to address because I don't want, I think sometimes well, anyway, I just wanted to address it because it caught my attention. And so I reached out to her. I found her, I went to her YouTube channel and then I found her email address. And so I messaged her and I asked her, from a place of caring, not a place of attack or anything. I was just like, I would really love to know more about this because I responded to her in the comments as well, asking the same thing, but I know it would just get lost in the comments. So I wanted to email her directly. And I reached out and I was just like, if you don't mind, if you're not too busy, I hope I'm not bothering you. Like, I would just really love more feedback on this. Like, why were you feeling this way? What made you change? Because it was on one of my videos that was like, I made $37,000 in a weekend or $72,000 in 2 weekends or whatever it was. It was on one of those money making videos. And another thing is I feel really uncomfortable doing those videos. Like I feel really uncomfortable ever like, like it's almost like bragging about money, but it's like a clickbait thing. Like I'm sorry, I hate clickbait videos. I know you need to do training videos to grow and stuff like that, but like they really just make me feel gross. And so when I saw that I lost her on that video, it made sense to me. Like no one likes those types of videos in my mind, or people love them, but I don't know, whatever. So I reached out to her and she was like so grateful that I reached out. She was amazed that I took the time to message her and she wrote me back right away and gave me all this feedback, which was wonderful. And she was saying that what made her feel like was becoming less authentic is that I was following, because I'd gotten a business mentor, as I mentioned, I was just following his advice blindly. And I agreed with her. And I sent her a Loom message back, actually, because it was a lot easier to explain with video than to write it all out. And I explained to her that I was feeling inauthentic at times because I was taking advice from someone who was further ahead of me, but that advice didn't sit well with me. But I also was like, I have never successfully been able to grow my business. I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. I've never made more than like 45,000 a year with my entrepreneurship. And so I was like, I really need help with this. And so I was in that moment, I was trying to determine whether that discomfort was because I was growing out of my comfort zone, or if it was me blurring the line between ethical or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it felt good to me or not, whether I was
Mm.
disconnecting, rather maybe discomfort and disconnection. And I was definitely going in the disconnected direction, but I was like, I've never done this before. I'm just going to do what he says and do it. Of course I did some things my own way. And so she was saying she felt like I was following him blindly, and I wrote her back and I was like, or told her back in the Loom, like I kind of was, because this is all new territory to me. Growing a business successfully is totally new territory to me. And anyway, we had a really good chat back and forth. And, now she's back to thinking I'm authentic and all this stuff. And she was like, so grateful that I reached out. And I was so grateful that she was honest with me, and was willing to share the information. And I also think this is kind of outside this conversation, but I also think that since I'm so authentic and willing to be vulnerable with my audience, they are willing to be vulnerable with me in the comments and tell me when they feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like tell me, oh, I was liking this until this happened. And I'm
Mm.
so grateful for that. Like it's so nice to have people that are direct with you and give you honest feedback rather than just disappear and don't pay attention to you anymore. Like I'd rather have her come and tell me why she stopped watching
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
then once I did that video, I had a lot of people actually say in the comments, I left for a similar reason. And so in that video I did was I was calling about like the dark side of YouTube, or the dark side of YouTube growth. I don't remember what I called it. But it's like you're traversing all of this new territory that you've never done before. And if you grow quickly, it's like you're really tired and you're trying to launch products. You're trying to do all this stuff. You're trying to learn this, you're trying to learn that. And like, you're just like, okay, just tell me what to do. How do I do this? And you just do it. And then you're like, afterwards, hindsight is always 2020. And you're like, yeah, I was feeling uncomfortable in those moments, but I just pushed through because I was trying to decide whether it was discomfort from being out of my comfort zone for growth, or was it discomfort because I didn't agree with the process. And it was definitely, I didn't agree with the process, but yeah. So anyway,
I mean, that was
really
so brave. Such
Mhm.
a courageous video to make. I mean, it was very grown up, I guess, to go back to that lady and say, look, thank you. You know, we sometimes think of criticism as a negative thing, or
Mhm.
feedback as a negative thing, but you know, there's a saying, feedback is a gift.
Yeah.
And she kind of confirmed what you were already feeling. I know you talked an awful lot about
Mhm.
intuition, about being gut led, and I totally get that. And I've done it myself in my business. I've taken a course, or I've followed somebody, and whilst what they were teaching wasn't unethical, or it wasn't um, illegal or wrong or morally wrong, it
Mm.
didn't sit with my values, and I've overridden that. But I don't know that I would have ever had the courage to come on to video and share that. That is, the vulnerability that Brené
Mhm.
Brown talks about, vulnerability and courage being, going hand in hand, and you can't be vulnerable without being courageous. So I watched that video and I was in tears. I don't know how you weren't. I was in tears watching it, because I just
Mhm.
thought the courage it took to not only be willing to accept the feedback as a gift and to learn from it, but to then come on camera and share that lesson and that learning. It's just
Mhm.
another layer of authenticity that, I thought it was an incredible video. If anybody hasn't seen it, please go and watch it, because it's an absolute
Mhm.
masterclass
Mhm.
in be, being true to yourself in your business.
Mhm.
Where are you at now? So you've had time to kind of reflect on the feedback, to act on the feedback.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with what you did. You
No, it
talked about
wasn't
the
like, yeah,
fact
it
that
wasn't, no.
you had. And I did have to say, when I saw about a case study, I thought that's a very strange term to be
Yeah,
using for a
it was.
program. And then I thought maybe it's just a language thing that we call things different things. Where are you at now? How do you feel sort of moving forward with
Um,
the business? What am I trying to ask here, Alexa? Let me try and clarify the question, because I'm waffling a bit.
mm.
What what are you taking forward from that in your business?
Yeah, to trust my gut, because I was not trusting my gut, and I'm a big gut trusting person. Like I love my intuition, I respect my intuition, and whenever I don't follow my intuition, things go awry. And another thing I wanted to mention about that woman is like she gave me the confidence to trust myself, to be like, now I can stand up against my, not I need to stand up against my coach, but like to push back and be like, actually, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it this way. And with my most recent launch, with the course, uh, he wanted me to do it a very different way. And I was like, I just don't want to do it that way. I'm not going to do it that way. And so we talked about it, and he's like, well, that's great. Well, how about this way? And I was like, oh, that's a much better way. Let's do that. So now I feel like what I've learned from it is that, this is my business and I can do it how I want to do it. And I want to do it differently. And I don't want to do it the old way, the traditional way of doing business and sales. And I'd rather just, spin it from a different direction. Like, I really just want to help people. It's not like I don't like need every sale or want every sale. Like I want to help the people that want me to help them. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mm.
not it's like I don't like all these psychological games. And it's like if you go dating or something and you play all these psychological games, you don't want to be in that kind of relationship. So I don't want to be in that kind of relationship with my business, or on YouTube, or with my followers, or my community. I don't even want to call them my followers, like my community that I adore so much. So yeah, what I've taken away is like, I want to do business differently. And I think that our generation or even generations behind us have the chance to change business. No one wants to be sold to. Like I was thinking, like, I would never want to be sold to this way. So why would I sell this way? You know what I mean? Like and I've been through those funnels, I've been through those sales cycles, and they're not fun. It's like, just give me the price, tell me when it starts, and
Mm.
I'll do it if I want to. And this is like all these layers of like, keep the price a mystery, name it a case study when it's not a case study at all to me. Like so many things that were, but now that I've been through it, I can do it differently because I feel like you have to kind of learn the game to change the rules. And I've been like that with everything in life. I never stay in the box. I never stay in the lines. So now that I've been in the lines, I can get out of the lines and do it
Mm.
differently and hopefully change the landscape of business on the way.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, it worked. You
Yeah.
made it. You made good money from that launch, but I think you're absolutely right. If it doesn't feel good to you,
Mm,
that will come across to your audience. It will come
yeah.
across to the people buying
And
from you, and people are buying into you because of your authenticity. It's got to be aligned, hasn't it?
yeah, and it wore me
Absolutely.
down for sure. Doing anything a little out of alignment, like, it really drains you if
Yeah.
that is, like, one of your strongest values,
I
for
mean, the
sure.
other thing there as well is, I again following your story and your videos, it was exhausting, wasn't it? That kind of
Mm,
launch, the product launch, the service delivery
yeah,
launch is exhausting.
yeah.
How did you cope with that?
I'm not sure, like, because I was working all week and with kids all week, and then, when I did the launch, it was 2 weekends in a row of, like, Saturday, Sunday from 10 to, like, midnight or 2 AM just on Zoom, like, and I'm an introvert too, so, like, just being on call after call after call after call was very draining,
Mm.
and doing something you've never done before is always draining, and then doing things that feel a little off was a little draining, so, it was just very tiring, and I think, um, the one of the biggest things I learned is that if you do a launch, don't start the program that next day. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
started it, like, a few days later, I'm like, "We'll start tomorrow," and it's like, "No, we will not start tomorrow. I am not
yeah,
ready to start tomorrow."
yeah.
So, yeah, it was really draining, and yeah, I just learned so much. So I'm glad I jumped in with 2 feet and went as fast as I could, ran as hard as I could, did it as well as I possibly could. But now that I've done that, I would do it so differently, but then I can also tell other
You
people,
can
like,
teach that. Yeah,
yeah, and be like,
yeah,
"Definitely avoid this." And, you see those videos that people are like, "I can teach you what in the past 10 I could teach you the 10 most top things I learned in the past 10 years." And those videos are always so valuable to
yeah,
me. Like, when
yeah,
you get the real wisdom of, like, what they fell down and how they got up and how they could have skipped that part.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I picked up from the video, you talked about your capacity and your mentor kind of pushing you to take on more and more clients,
Yeah.
to increase the number. And you made such a valid point that, his commitment level, life commitment level is
Mhm.
much lower.
Yeah.
He's quite young. He doesn't have the family commitments.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy, isn't it, to go, well, if I can do 5, I can do 10. If I can do 10, I can do
Mhm.
20. Until you actually have to start serving those customers, and your your bucket is empty. If you've not
Mhm.
got the energy, you're not able to serve those customers fully
Yeah.
either. And there was a huge lesson there, I think, in your video. I
Yeah.
will link your video because I think there were so many massively important um takeaways from that video. I'll
Mhm.
dig it out and I'll leave it in the comments. So,
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Alexa, thank you so much for
Yeah. Thank you.
joining me and taking the time. I know I'm eating into your lunch break. What's next? What are the big, audacious, hairy goals that you've got for your channel in the future?
My biggest goal right now is to get comfortable with what I'm doing already. Like, I don't wanna take on anything else right now. People keep saying, "What's next? What's next?" And for me, it's like, my next step is to actually enjoy, because I was realizing the other day, I haven't taken the time to enjoy where I am, because it's always the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I feel like that's a very American mentality. And in Finland, everyone is like, "Enjoy what you have. spend time with your family, be present, be, you know, like, I mean, of course, America's getting there too, be present and stuff, but we're a very go, go, go culture, very ambitious, like, gotta get the next best thing. And so for me right now, it's just like, really enjoy and also make my systems much stronger. Like, really work on making things efficient, effective, those types of things, like refining things, because everything was done so scrappy. Now I want to like make it solid foundation, make it, you know, make everything better now, because I can. I have more time. My daughter's in daycare more now and stuff like that. So I just want to focus on making everything better before I try to go to the next level or place or add another thing in.
Yeah. Have you built a team? Are you starting to build a team around you to help you, or are you still
No,
a lone
I need
ranger?
to. I had an editor for, he's been doing a few of my videos, but you know, then that was also another learning curve, because I always produce things right in the last minute. And so then I was like, well, I don't ever produce them ahead of time. Am I going to get them to him ahead of time and all of this stuff? So that's been a learning curve, and having someone find your style and do things you like. And so, yeah, I feel like ever since I got the editor, I've been a little off my groove, but now that we're getting into a groove, it's getting better. But
You're still using the editor. You just,
well, the video I posted yesterday, I didn't use him. So it just depends if I get the video done in time to send to him. But yeah, I would like to utilize him more.
yeah, I have heard of people who do their how-to videos. They're kind of the more routine ones that they can plan out ahead, and then they just do their more spontaneous ones and edit them themselves. So maybe
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
way
that's
to
gonna
go.
be my go-to.
Brilliant. Has anybody else got any other questions for Alexa in the chat? I think I've got I think I've caught all of them so far. But if anybody's got anything they want to ask just before we wrap this up, can't see any others in there. I'm absolutely hopeless at trying to read. I can't multitask. I don't know where we get this idea that women are good at multitasking. Seeing and breathing are quite difficult to do at the same time these days. Alexa, thank you so much for joining me. And
Yeah, thank you
I
for
hope
having me.
people have found this useful. I know I was really looking forward to having this conversation. I'm still going to continue being inspired by the work that you do, and
Yeah, thank
probably
you.
still continue to be very envious of your growth. And just keep
Well, I'll
watching
send
what you're
growth
doing.
energy to you.
Yeah.
Lots of growth energy.
Brilliant. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everyone. Great to see you in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, please do put questions below. I do go in and try and answer them. I don't have that many comments, so I still have lots and lots of time to answer them. So brilliant. And I will link that video. And do you want me to link your Skool community below?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Are you still trying to grow that? Is that still
Yeah, of
open?
course.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. I will do that as well. If you can
Yeah,
send
thank
me the
you.
links, Alexa, that would be brilliant. All right, guys, lovely to talk to you all. Take care.
Bye, everyone.